These always seem so official. Welcome to Switch It Up. And this is continuing in our series, Is the RV Lifestyle for You? Is this part like 6?
I think so. We're narrowing in, we're getting close to coming in for landing.
We're coming in for a landing for this foreseeable future. We have a few more episodes of this Tuesday RV Lifestyle edition. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to just kind of answer a lot of the questions that seem to be like the common ones. Like we get questions on the road, let's answer the common questions that people ask. So what about? What about?
You have a lot of hand motions going this morning. So I guess we're going to roll the intro and jump right back into it.
Well, look at you with your
roll
hand
the intro!
You're hand motioning.
A man and a woman left their home to switch things up and go on the road. They didn't know where they would go, but it's gotta be better than staying home. They switched it up. They switched it up.
And we're back. Just like that. It's like a magic trick. There's a lot of things that we're probably going to cover in this video, and I don't think we're going to have all the answers because we've only been doing this for 8 months.
I know that we're not going to have all the answers, and in fact I'm hoping that that's what you guys can help with in the comments in the community. Is you guys, a lot of you have a lot more experience than us in this, and you can help each other. We've got a lot to learn, and we're trying to figure out if this is something that we're going to be able to continue. What worked well for us though was a gradual step down process into
and we didn't plan
rig.
it that way. So our situation was we had a 3,500 square foot house. We wanted to do more traveling. There was a lot of upkeep on the house we just really got sick of. We were spending thousands of dollars on driveways and all the things we were getting ready to spend, and she hatched a plan. She goes, what if we just sold it, moved into a really nice luxury apartment, and we went and traveled and seen the world. So that was our first step. We sold the house. We went into an apartment of 1,500 square feet. We had to learn how to downsize and get rid of everything. So it was a transition step. And then from that transition step, we decided out of nowhere we would downsize and get rid of absolutely everything and move into Fiona.
Yes.
Now,
because she's allowing us to travel more,
right,
which we absolutely love.
So that the people that are selling everything and going straight into a thing, there is going to be a dynamic there that we're going to probably touch on a little bit, because this is the gradual step down. I don't think is a bad idea.
No, that worked well for us, and I know a couple in Kansas City where they went from their house and they didn't do gradually, just went all in. And within, I don't know, I think it was 4 to 6 months, they were selling their rig. It just wasn't for them.
The reason we know that is they bought the same rig as us, and they were setting it up, and we were like excited to see how they were going to go. And then just a few months later, they were like, yeah, we're selling, and we're not. They didn't even make it out of Kansas City.
Yeah, so I think that a gradual step down is a good option.
And so that's the filter I think we're using with our journey, because we weren't sure when we hit the road how long we were going to be out. Some people say we're going to go out for 2 and 3 and 4 years. Well, quite honestly, you don't know if you're going to like it. Our first 30 and 60 days, we were like, what did we just do?
Yeah.
And somebody very wise said to us, just calm down, settle into a rhythm. It'll get so much better and you'll love it. And that was the filter we used for 60 days. And then we actually love this life.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say give yourself, if you're going to go full-time, give yourself, I would say 6 months before you just make this knee-jerk reaction. Because honestly, for me, it probably took me a good 4 to 5 months just to, I'd say like a busy life detox, coming from a busy office environment, constantly in meetings and always in emails and on my phone. There's a detox that takes place that I was like, oh my gosh.
That's very true.
There was some, like, I felt like I would almost say a little bit of guilt. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm not busy and I'm not, but now I would say it was a busyness detox that I had to go through. So I wouldn't make a rash decision for those first 6 months, because you're just adjusting to a lot of things.
with these questions we're going to go over, you have that filter in mind of us. Now, we're not going to have the direct answers, but we're going to probably stir up some questions that you're going to have if you're getting ready to start this journey that you can answer for yourself. And that will be one of them. Is this going to be a gradual, like a step down for a year? Do you keep the house for a year and then try to do this? And then if it doesn't work, go back to the house as a safeguard? Do you sell the house now, go into an apartment situation so you're in a smaller environment, do a lot of the downsizing as you're waiting for like your rig to show up? Because a lot of them are taking a long time to show up. So that gives you time. The rig shows up, you have time to plan it, you have time to get the upgrades done. Gives you that year transition. And then when the year's up, get out of the apartment, you jump into this thing and enjoy. There's segments there that you'll have to kind of figure out. But that's the questions that are coming are kind of that filter.
Yeah. So one of the questions we get quite a bit though is well, what do you do with your mail? Remember, in our transition period, my mom has been just terrific to just kind of take over. We just forwarded our mail. She's getting the mail for us, scanning things in, emailing them to us, and then when we know we're going to be in a certain spot, she can send us a package of things that we need. But let's be honest. Most things,
junk mail.
Your credit card statements, your bank statements, your almost everything you can get online.
Yes.
So we have really downsized in our mail compartment.
We just don't see the junk mail. She does. Thanks,
Yeah,
Sue.
she sorts that out for us. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate that. And then our kids, we use their addresses for packages when we know, hey, we're going to be back and to see the grandkids. So we'll just, Brianna's house probably has a little shelf that here's our packages. We've already started.
And Brittany's house turned into, if we forgot to take something out to where we needed to, her house became our little storage unit in her basement.
Our family has been so helpful. But if we're this is something that we have to think about. I'm not going to have my mom do our mail forever if we're going to go out on the road for another year. So then at that point, we're looking into what it looks like to domicile in a certain state. We've been doing that research right now, and we're also looking at programs out there, like Escapees has one. There's several mail forwarding programs.
And you can YouTube videos specifically where they compare these different mail.
Yep.
That's not the goal of this video. We're just kind of sharing with you how we made the transition.
Yeah, bubbling up the questions that you need to look at. Because these are questions we have to answer. Okay, Mom, thanks for doing the mail. Now if we're going to stay out, now what's next for us? So we might look at a domicile in South Dakota or Florida, maybe Texas. Those are kind of some of the...
There's pros and cons. We've talked to several different RVers in different states.
Yeah.
And so that is a decision that we will need to make starting in 2022.
Yes, if we get to be so blessed to continue our journey.
I know. I'm feeling confident.
You are?
I'm hoping. Yes.
Okay. For the if you're going to baby step into this, ask a family member to just help you out with your mail for a little bit.
Yeah. What's the worst that's going to happen? Really? I mean.
Somebody that you trust.
Someone you trust. I mean, not necessarily you're going to want your W-2s or something sent to them and opened up if you don't want them to learn that. There's a lot. We don't really care. We just let it all hang out.
That's my mom, for goodness sakes. Right? My mom knows everything. Okay, then the next question we get asked a lot is, well, what about health insurance?
Yes.
We are very blessed to be very, very healthy. So we don't have we don't have any prescription drugs that we take. We've, just had a few. So we just have from my work, we were able to do a COBRA plan, and that COBRA plan is 18 months. So that takes us to about June of 2022.
And we've been looking for answers on that as well.
And that's because that's the next step. What are we going to do after that COBRA plan? So if you have that ability to do a COBRA plan, that's just gives you some
transition.
time. It's a good transition phase. So now we're looking at, you can do marketplace insurance, or we're looking at actually kind of like a MediShare plan where, it's just a...
And the reason we looked at thinking about that is that one of our daughters is using that plan as well.
Yeah.
And so she swears that it's awesome. And I think that would be a really good opportunity to use something in this lifestyle where you can carry maybe a higher end deductible on something for major medical and comp that with a MediShare program for your smaller stuff if need be.
But what we do plan on is still keeping, same doctor, same dentist, and beautiful thing about Kansas City is it's smack dab in the middle of the United States. So as we're crisscrossing across here, we can stop in and get our,
We haven't had to make any of those hard changes.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing.
there are options out there. Just something for you to think about. And as far as like medications, if you have like prescription medications that you need,
just have them sent to another.
Yeah,
choose a location as well.
Yeah, if you plan far enough in advance, if you have that trip planning sheet, you'll know where you are, and when it's time for a refill, you can call that pharmacy ahead of time, CVS or whatever, and navigate getting those filled there.
Well, now that we're talking about that, and I know it's not on your list, you're going to talk about Amazon packages or packages in general that you're going to want to get. Generally, like we were here where we're at, and we're going over to, I can't remember what town, but I was looking for just Amazon lockers. And so Amazon lockers become your source to have your Amazon packages. Then you just kind of plan when you're going to be there. You make your order, and then that shows up in that locker. When we show up there, we can just go to the locker and pick up our stuff. Because a lot of the RV resorts, I know you're thinking like we thought, because I thought it, is like, oh, we're staying at this RV park, we'll just have it sent there and we can pick it up. No.
And I totally get that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility and liability, and what if your package gets there after you've already left? Then they're stuck with all this mail.
Some parks, though, we've learned that Thousand Trails, the ones we've been in.
There was one in Florida, like they had a mailroom that was like like a machine.
Some will allow it if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
But a majority of them, you might as well just kiss that idea right out of your head and find a way around it. And that will be through your Amazon lockers. You look for one that's close to the place you're getting ready to go to. You check to make sure that your Amazon Prime can be there in a day or two, or they give you the estimated delivery date, and you're like, okay, this is going to work, and then boom, there's your packages for any of the little things you want to pick up.
The next thing you need, like people have asked, so we need to kind of make sure that we're digging into and still researching about what we're going to do, is banking.
Banking's a big one.
Yeah, we've come into a time where we can do mobile banking where we take a picture of our checks and make those deposits, but that's only up into a check to up to a certain amount.
And then they don't allow that. So then it comes into we have hometown banks basically of where we've been, and the one we've had for years, well, they don't like us being on the road. So every time
what's our address?
Yeah, what time whenever I go to use the card, I can use it one or two times, and then it locks itself out. Well, then I got to put in a thing saying I'm traveling. Well, when you put the thing in for your traveling, it says it's only good for 30 days. Then I got to redo it. It's a pain in the ass. So we're getting ready to get rid of them, and we've had them for years. Then we have another bank that she used when we had some other business type stuff, and they've actually been all right. But then again, you're coming into that same thing. So we've adopted using like a Southwest card to get points.
Yeah, but just for now, that's not going to help with the banking situation for long term.
We did find one little solution.
We did?
Yeah, the bank that does everything online.
Well, we're trying to figure out, like there's questions that I have about, financing things when you don't have an official address that like you could domicile, but if it's a mail forwarding system and you don't have like a physical location, a lot of banks and financing departments don't like that. So if we decided, hey, we're going to get rid of Shrek and we're going to get a Ford, then
what's your address?
Ford isn't so there's just issues with banking, and we're trying to figure, when we find a solution, we will let you know.
Okay.
So then people ask us about our budget and finances on the road. So we knew we broke down what our monthly budget was. I have that information in a spreadsheet, but one thing that you can do is there's options to make money on the road.
Yes, and I think one of the best options that we have discovered that we didn't know about when we hit the road was called work camping. And we were so lucky that we were in one of our locations. I can't remember where it was. What state were we in?
South Dakota, I think.
No,
not South Dakota.
No.
That's not who he's talking about.
It was in Michigan.
Okay.
It's in Michigan. We had an opportunity while we were tootling around on our bikes.
Oh yeah, yes.
So
they're crew. They are even crew.
Yes, they're crew. So they've been following us for a little while. So we stopped, we chatted for a while, and they shared where they were getting ready to go to so they could do a work camping. Work camping could be a great solution for you if you're wanting to start this journey and you're not sure if you can retire and you're kind of right on the edge, you need another year or two. This could be a good scenario. So we interviewed them.
Yeah, we did.
So why don't we share that interview real quick and we'll go from there. All right. really happy. We made it up here to Michigan, and as we were pulling in, Donna and Bill reached out because they saw us pulling in.
Yep. So we found some switch crew.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. But which is even better is as we're trying to do this series for you guys, we were just sitting and chatting with them, and they do work camping. And you've been doing work camping they're full-time, right?
Full-time.
For 2 years?
2 years.
Yep, and they're in, of course, a Momentum. And they have some wonderful toys. So, which is pretty cool. That's kind of comes with the Momentum life.
It's nice.
If you would have told me you're going to put that on, I would have covered.
Well, keep it a mystery, Bill.
There you go.
Other than my wife, it's the prettiest thing I got.
Oh, man, you've been married a while. Yeah, that's good. That's so good. Why don't you fill us in a little bit about work camping, and I want to know the good, like how you discovered it because you researched it, and I want to know the bad. I think they deserve to know both those. Can you just kind of do a little recap?
Well, let's see. I started a couple years before we went full-time looking into ways to not work.
Right?
Yeah.
40 hours a week. And I come up with we could go work camp. And I would come home from work and say, hey, I found another good job. We could go to Texas and do this, or we could go to, I was always looking into Maine, but
Right.
Finally, after a year and a half or more, so we got serious and started looking into it.
Right? And then you kind of sprung it on her. And what did
Yep.
you think in the beginning?
Well, I didn't even consider it as an option because I didn't really understand it. So
Right.
but there are videos out there. So we watched the YouTube, and we watched some people who do work camp,
Right.
and he was looking up some jobs on workcamperjobs.com.
Okay.
And there's a variety of things you can do, and how many hours you want to work, and
Right.
what area of the country you want to spend time in.
Right.
So some of them are really easy jobs, some of them are cleaning sites, and I've worked in the store, I've taken reservations, I've checked people in, we've cleaned sites, we've cleaned bathrooms,
But you said when we were talking, how long does that usually go for? When you're doing a work camping scenario?
Like May till October, middle of October, the
Whatever
summer season.
the season is for whatever region you're in. So.
And you can you've contracted to be in different places as doing this, so it's kind of supplemented. And in the work camping, I've heard they give you a spot to stay for free, and then they pay you basically an hourly wage for that period, right?
Some do, some don't.
Some
we
do.
actually have strangely opted to not work extra hours and
Right.
get paid, because we really want to, no offense, work a minimum amount of hours so
Right.
that we can spend more time out and about and exploring the area.
So you're saying there's different options then?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know there was
Absolutely.
different options.
Yeah, you can get paid, or you
I
can just
looked at a
strictly
job
work
today.
for your
We
site.
could both be working 40 hours a week, and we're like, no.
Yeah, yeah. So
That defeats the
typically-
purpose.
We ran from
But
that.
Yeah.
but if a person, if a couple wants to go out on the road early, and they're just there, but they could really need to supplement some income. Sheila and we were talking. I was like, that would be pretty much a good way to do it, don't you think?
Yeah, because you could work. What you're saying is you could work 40 hours a week, and
Yes.
then in your nights and weekends or your days off, then you're in a new spot and you can go tour that area. So that has its advantage.
Okay. So this is good. What's the bad?
You sit in one place for a long time.
Okay. So if
Typically-
you don't want to do the 5 months in one area,
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
They
it
want you
gets
to
tough.
stay for the whole season. They don't want to have to shuffle people
Which
in
makes
and out
sense,
and
because
have
then
to
they're
train somebody
constantly
again.
training somebody.
Yeah. So
Have most places people been really nice? What if you don't like the campground? That would be my fear.
well,
I get
so
hooked
far,
in.
We haven't had that problem.
Oh, well, good.
We've done our research. If we find something that sounds appealing, we'll look into that campground. We'll check their reviews. And
Right.
Where they're at.
we
We've
do
had
the
them
Google
on,
map and get an overview of what the area looks like, what kind of sites there are to see around that area, so
Okay.
we know that we won't be bored necessarily.
And so, go ahead.
Are all the jobs basically in the camp campsite, or is there jobs that are like connected to the tourism around?
You could be here and be working in town.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, we saw that in Wyoming, or at the Wall Drop, South Dakota.
Yeah, we just talked to Rusty.
There's quite a bit of that too, you know. You
Okay.
We haven't.
you just live in a camper down the road, so.
Yeah.
Okay, and so right now you're not doing it, and then you just looked at a job you're going to be in Florida possibly. That's Texas.
Texas.
That's what it was.
Just outside of San Antonio for the winter. So probably November through the end of March.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We think.
good. Yeah.
Cool.
So
It's a good time to be in San Antonio.
Any
all the
hopefully.
cold months.
Oh yeah, that's true too. That's the other benefit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything we're missing on this that you think people should know if they're getting into this work camping opportunity type
Well,
thing?
sometimes the jobs aren't the greatest jobs, you know. I mean,
Right.
you're cleaning a bathroom or something, so.
Yeah.
But you just gotta look at it like if you're a couple doing it for 24 hours a week,
You're right. It's not that big a deal.
that's
And-
4 hours for each of us.
And whoever's managing you, you know, they're taking you at your word or your resume. We do send a resume and a picture
Oh, okay.
and stuff
That's
like
good to
that
know.
in. But until they work with you, they kind of give you the little menial jobs
Until they
until
can
they
figure
know
out.
that you have a skill. And,
Right.
you know, then they have put a little more faith in you. So sometimes that's a little bit slow going, but
But you would recommend it. I mean, it's worthwhile for people to check into if they need a little extra income while they're out there.
Oh,
it
right.
definitely offsets the
Yeah,
cost of
that helps. I
camping
mean,
for
24
a lot of the
months
year.
of work being on the road, and we've actually paid for 5 months of camping.
Oh, wow, you never shared that. That's
Just
pretty
kidding.
impressive.
You did now.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And for really putting in 24 or 26 hours a week between the two of us, that's
Wow.
not so bad.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I don't think we've ever done more than 24 a week.
Okay. Well, there you go, peeps.
Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
awesome.
It's our pleasure.
It's just nice to hear refreshing ideas, especially depending on what people are wanting to do.
Yep. There's
All right.
options out there.
Options out there.
Okay, now they're off to their next adventure. They leave tomorrow. All right, thanks, guys.
And yes, just like that. It's like a magic trick. I love that. Go here for this amazing thing and then slide back in and you're back in. Video is kind of a cool avenue to share. I really like it. It's one of those my favorite things. What's left on your list?
Okay, question.
Well,
Another
we hope
question.
you enjoyed that interview because we enjoyed hanging out with them for, well, I don't know, we were there for quite a while. So we hope you enjoyed that. They had some great wisdom that you might be able to key in on.
Yes, I think the key is that there are options for if you need to supplement your income for your budget. There are options on the road, not a
Yeah, you just don't know that you don't know.
right. We believe that there's a way that you can probably make it work. Another question that we get often is if we have any regrets.
Do you have any regrets?
That's a whole nother video.
It is a
people.
whole nother
video.
thing.
I
If
don't
you
have
would have
reg-
asked us 30, 60 days, 90 days in, we probably could have shared with you some. We go back and see our kids and they have these amazing houses and we see all the stuff that they're doing. They're painting and fixing things up and you're like, oh
But we
man.
did that already.
Yeah.
So like, been there, done that.
It's like, no, I cannot. Every day is something different. And if you're tired, you sleep in. If you want to go see something different because the area you thought was going to be good isn't, you just move.
An ever-changing backyard is a pretty awesome
I mean,
thing.
look at this.
I mean-
This is amazing. No, I don't have any. We spent some time in Gettysburg, and I love seeing the history that I would have never have taken the time to go see with our work life that we were in, because it wouldn't have been on our list. It would have been one of those things where one day. Well, the one day doesn't come because we would have went to Mexico or we would have tried to plan some other trip. Gettysburg wouldn't have been like this place. It would have been one of those one-day situations. And it is so cool to see. Yeah, I don't have the regrets maybe in the relationships, but we still keep in contact with everyone that we want to keep in contact with.
Yeah, well, and you guys know, as adults, when you connect back with a friend that you haven't seen for a while, you just pick right back up. So like going back and seeing people, it's like, oh, it's like you haven't even been gone. You might have missed a few things in our life, but no, I don't have any regrets at all. I think that the step-in process has been good for us.
It worked.
It did work. And
probably would have been a little harder if we would have jumped straight in from the house to the RV, but
yeah.
But that still would have probably adjusted out, because after a while,
you just get you get
get
used
so
to it.
used to what's going on. Moving days, she's like, oh, are you getting tired of it yet? And I was like, no, I actually love moving days. I love going out and rolling everything up and putting it away and unknown, and I enjoy that. I don't like some of the drive because it stresses me out. That's not a regret, though. That's just something it's probably I don't enjoy the most.
Doesn't stress you out. Doesn't stress you out more than what working every day was stressing you out. So,
yep.
Yeah, and then people also ask if we're really enjoying it, and I think that those two are just rolled together. I mean, we are really enjoying this lifestyle. We're enjoying the full-time life aspect of it. And then the other question that kind of goes into that is, well, what about your family and your grandkids? That's the hardest part.
But it's not a regret.
No, it's not a regret.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between the two.
Absolutely. And I think here's the thing, our kids and our grandkids are getting to that age where they're in school and then they've got sports and they've got their activities, they're entering that time in their life where they're just super busy. And so going to the I and switch it up, being intentional, is now when we see them,
we are very intentional
about spending good quality time with them. We're going to be, really planning and working in, we had the boys come camp with us for 3 or 4 days. Like, we're just going to, the time that we are together, it's going to be high intentional time together. And I think
been that way the last few times we've been back.
Yeah, I think it works. And technology is just super helpful with that.
Yeah, where were we? We were somewhere, and the girls, the grand girls.
We were walking down the streets in Virginia.
In the middle of doing a video.
Yep.
And the grand girls, they called it, share something.
This FaceTime, and I'm like, oh, stop the video real quick, because here's our grandbabies. And they had to tell us that they got a new stuffed sloth, And it's just like, that technology allows us to see what they're doing, and it's great.
And then on the flip side of that, for them, they're watching me, Mom, and Papa on TV. Right? So they're watching our journey on the big screen TV, seeing where we're at and what's going on. So there's this I don't know, it's kind of a cool little dynamic that I would say that wasn't available back when I grew up with my grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
So like, we did VCR tapes, but I mean, come on, once they made it to the tape, nobody ever pulled it off. And then they went to these little high 8s, and nobody ever pulled those off until you digitize them. So that relationship was not, this is all current, happening like right now.
Yep.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, that does make it easier. And I think if you're just intentional about when you do get together with them, it'll be fine. And I feel like what we're also doing is we're out scoping the United States, making a short list of, these are the places that we really want to bring our grandkids, and they're going to be able to come out and be on our journey with us and camp with us. Those are going to be memories that they're going to have forever. Versus, could we be going to all the baseball games right now?
Sure.
We sure could. But I guarantee, yes, would it be great that we're at the baseball games? Yes. But is it great that they're going to remember that, we spent a week in Branson and we went and did this and that, and Grandpa rolled the roller coasters with me? Yeah, they're going to remember that. Or even going to
like Cedar Point. Cedar Point's like now become this list of, man, it'd be awesome. We get them all here. We can rent a cabin here for this family, a cabin for this family. We'll have our RV. Then we'll walk over to the water park. We'll walk over here. And then at night, we'll go down to the beach. We'll hang out on the beach. We'll sit by the fire. There's that now. We would have never thought of Ohio. Never in my million dreams I would have thought of going to Cedar Point. So, and then Mackinac Island and the Upper Peninsula with the family.
Yep.
So now we're just now making these new plans.
New plans of where we can share these memories and create memories with our family. And I think that's going to, in the end, that's going to pay off a lot more. I think our grandkids will really appreciate that. So
we even plan for legacy.
We're staying, we stay in contact via technology, but we're going to be able to create some memories with them. And so all in all, it makes it worthwhile. And now we're just digging into what's next for us if we stay out for the next season.
Is there any other questions?
That's
Those
it.
are the top ones?
Those are the top ones.
They were tough ones, and we didn't give you some specific answers, but the goal here is to open up some doors for you to start finding those answers for yourself. From the trip planning to this, to the rig style, to the questions you should be answering from the beginning. All this is kind of funneled in together. We have a couple more videos that we want to talk about coming up, and one of them will be, should you YouTube or not to YouTube? And I was able to sit down with another YouTuber and have them share their perspective as well and do an interview. So I look forward to sharing with you on that aspect, because a lot of people want to share their journey. Now you're going to do this thing and you're going to hit the road and you've answered these. Should you YouTube? Should you buy a camera and start filming? That'll be another video that we're coming up with.
Yeah, actually that's next week. And as we come to this whole series comes to a close, our goal isn't to say, here's what you need to do. You're grown adults. You need to make your own, do your research, do your own, what's going to work best for you, because nothing is a one size fits all. Like, what's going to work for you? We're just sharing our journey along the way of what we're finding is working for us, and we hope that it's helpful.
And I'm not going to fall off this bench.
You're thinking about it.
All right, is that it?
Well, you got to tell them to remember to do all the things.
Yes, how could we forget that? I don't even know. If you've been watching for a while, to be a doer of all things, you must like, comment, subscribe, and even hit that little bell notification so you know when our next video is going to be, because that's an important little feature that people overlook all the time. Otherwise, when you subscribe, you'll flow through and go, where'd those Switch It Up people go? I really like their videos, but I can't find them. But if you hit the bell, you're notified. See?
Notified.
Notified. You've been
notified.
You've been placed on notified. Be notified.
Oh my gosh. Okay, those are our main questions that we get. If you have others, put them in the comments. If you have ideas, suggestions, things that have worked for you, let us know. Put them in the comments. Help the crew out.
With all that being said, Sheila,
we're out.
Out.